Welcome to Safe and Secure, where we discuss the problems and solutions that make up the systems integration world. Each week, we'll feature industry leaders and experts to discuss the obstacles and challenges in our industry with your host, Kevin Wren. So, let's dive in.
Jessica, thanks a ton for getting with me today and agreeing to do one of these videos. I think you and I met 2-3 years ago, I guess maybe.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, it has. And, unfortunately we met under your family tragedy, but I think it's blossomed and turned into a driver for change. And you being a parent advocate for school safety, I know you were a huge resource for me when I was running the school district. Just tell me a little bit about yourself and how you got involved as a parent with school security.
Well, I am married to a law enforcement officer. We have one daughter. She's 9. She's in 3rd grade this year. And 2 years, well, I guess it was a little over 2 years ago, my family did experience a tragedy in Parkland. Luke Hoyer, who is a cousin of mine and a dear member of our family, was a victim at Parkland. And so obviously being married to a law enforcement officer, and that's why I said that in the beginning, I had some sort of concept about school safety initiatives just from the law enforcement side. But then when it, happens to you personally and it affects you personally, it takes on a whole new meaning. And so after that happened to Luke, it was just a natural kind of progression of getting involved, because when you go through something like that, you never want to see another family go through that. So you come back and you just want to do everything you can to help and educate and empower the people around you to get involved to make sure that it doesn't happen again.
Right. You bring up something that's important there. You're a law enforcement family.
Yeah.
So, you're already somewhat heightened awareness on safety and security, and that's out there. There's a buddy of mine named Jen Kim, who's a retired FBI. He did a lot of post-incident investigations from active shooter events, not just school stuff. And he says the number one statement is, "I can't believe this happened to us." And
Yeah.
I know that you and your family were definitely in that same mindset, and all the other families down at Parkland. So in your school district now, your daughter's of school age. How did you get involved in the school district, or how did you even come up with the ideas of being involved as a parent advocate on safety?
Oh gosh, I didn't even know where to start, to be honest. When we came back from Florida from attending Luke's funeral and being with the family, that's a really long drive from Florida to South Carolina. It took us a while. I had a lot of time to think about, what could I do when I got home, because that's all I could think about was when I got home, dropping my daughter off at school, and the anxiety overwhelmed me. And I knew, it was just, my emotions were very raw, and I was just very hypersensitive and aware to everything. And so to overcome that, I thought, okay, she's got to go to school. I can't feel like this every day. I would feel better if I knew who was in charge, who's making the decisions, and is there any way that I can get more involved to just be educated and know what's going on. And so I just sort of got back home. I started sending emails to addresses I could find on the district website, because as a parent, we don't really even know that there is a safety and security director. I don't even think I knew that at the time I got involved. So I started with, I think, maybe a school board member, and then maybe I sent the superintendent's assistant an email, and then they kind of directed me to the safety director, which at the time was you. So that's kind of how it got started. And then I met with you, obviously, and I'm just so thankful for that first initial meeting and where I've been able to go since then, and the connections that you've helped me make. So really, it's just, you got to know where to start And a lot of parents don't know how to do that.
All right. So Jessica, you emailed the superintendent. What did you say? What were your, did you address any concerns or what was that communication to the superintendent? What kind of information were you looking for, or problems or concerns? You understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah. Well, at first I didn't really know. I didn't even know where I was going with it. I just wanted to know who to contact. And so the only concern that I really remember having initially is the fact that none of our elementary schools had school resource officers. So that was my biggest, probably, I guess, issue to tackle. Was I do feel like sharing the resource officers with the middle and the high schools it didn't work out that well. I think it was very important to have an officer in the schools at an elementary level, because it builds relationships at a young age so that they don't have that fear of law enforcement or authority, and they can build really valuable relationships. So the first thing I wanted to do was see where we were at with making that happen. And so my first email to the superintendent, I didn't say that. I knew she wasn't the person to make that happen for me. I knew there had to be somebody else in another position. So I just my initial email was kind of a little bit about my story, that I really wanted to get more involved with the school safety initiatives and what we were doing in our district, and sort of what direction could they point me in so that I could get more involved.
And in kind of going down your journey, and obviously, that road ended with me, but then I guess we also started the journey together as well at the same time. What in your journey through school safety, and I know you've been involved with several different things, what, as a parent, what resources are out there to help a parent understand, just kind of how to navigate those waters?
As far as resources, there's tons. If as a parent, if you go online and Google school safety initiatives or how to get started in school safety conversation, there's going to be tons of information out there. The advice that I would give to any parent that wants to get involved is to sort of know where to start. And if it's a classroom issue, you probably should start with your teacher. If it's a school-wide issue, you probably should start with a conversation with the principal. Starting off the way that I did with the director, it worked for me, I think, because I had a personal experience with a tragedy, and so we were instantly connected. But for a parent who just has ideas on how to improve things, conversations with the people in the school are the first place to start. And then as far as resources that they can use to be prepared for those conversations, I definitely would recommend the Safe and Sound Schools website, which has a lot of resources for parents and students on just how to get the conversation started, how to just approach it in a way that it's accepted and not be defensive. And because sometimes these conversations are very hard to navigate because they are doing what they feel is their very, very best to keep our kids safe. Sometimes we have ideas that they haven't thought of, and the reality is sometimes people are a lot more open than others to those conversations. So Safe and Sound Parent Council resource definitely has a lot of information on there, how to get the conversations started. Excuse me.
Now, if memory serves me right, Safe and Sound Schools do they do an actual parent training as well if you wanted to attend that? Or is it just strictly resources?
Well, they did start off, the group that I went through for the parent council, we did sort of like an 8-week course where we had experts from all the different areas of school safety, from mental health to physical security to threat assessment. And they sort of taught us, presented to us, and then we have discussions, and then we sort of had like a final I say exam, but it was really just like a debrief of kind of explaining what we learned and took away from the program. Right before COVID hit, they were trying to join the parent council with the national PTA. and offer that program as sort of the PTA as an avenue of how to get it out to parents. And I don't know exactly where they are with that, because everything we've done has sort of been on hold because of,
Right.
COVID has taken precedence over so many things. But I do believe that all the webinars and everything, if you sign up for the program, you can view those, and there's discussion boards or discussions that are scheduled via Zoom for people, because the people are from all over. It's not a live class, but I think they have recorded versions of what the first class went through, which was the one that I went through.
Gotcha. And I tell people all the time, safety is a feeling. And as a security director, as former law enforcement, my idea of safety and security versus the idea of an 8-year-old child or a high school student or a teacher or a parent is vastly different. And at the end of the day, whether you're in law enforcement or security or education, your sole mission is to serve, right? And customer service. And in a K-12 environment, your customers are your parents and your students. And why go spend $2, $3, $4 million on a security system without getting the input from the parents and the students? Because you could greatly miss the mark on things. So I know your input and what you did for me was amazing. I hope that every school security director out there can find themselves a Jessica to help advocate with them.
Oh, well, thank you. Unfortunately, I was sort of catapulted into this from tragedy, but, just try to make the best of that situation, and, pain into purpose is what Michelle says, and that fully resonates with me. And so I do hope that more parents get empowered to become part of the conversation, because we need it.
Absolutely. And at the end of this video, we'll post contact information for Michelle's group and the parent council. And thank you so much for doing this today.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us for this week's episode of Safe and Secure. For show notes, visit a3communications.com. Thank you again for watching, and don't forget to stay safe and secure. We'll see you next time.